Welcome, everybody, to If I May, a podcast where I guess we're just a bunch of average guys named Nick, Brent, and Kyle, and we talk about basically whatever and interrupt each other, as politely as we possibly can. This is episode 24. Let's go.
All right.
If I may quickly, can I throw in that Nick had libs? It's no flack for it. I guess this is flack technically, but I had lib a little bit on the intro and you can't read.
So if a listener or viewer listened in and thought I was reading from a script or that whatever I said didn't make sense, feel free to reach out to our Twitter or any other medium which we contact on, which Brent manages primarily. And please let me know exactly what I said that didn't make sense. And if more than 6 people agree who are not Brent's family, I will read from the script strictly going forward.
Full disclosure.
The same. Go ahead, Kyle.
If I may, full disclosure, I can't really see or hear anything in this thing.
Perfect. So let's jump into Zarubust news really quickly with Brent. And the Halloween theme can be explained.
Just to finish this thing, nobody has anything to me either, so my ad-libbing must be good, if that's the standard of 6 people. Zarubust news is Kyle.
Oh, sure. So the board game thing that we talked about a couple weeks ago, or have touched on a little bit, I made it on Tabletop Simulator. It's a game you can get on Steam, so it is now on. I just called it. Name slightly pending, Zarustar, just so everybody could find it. So Zarustar. That's on Tabletop Simulator now. So if people feel like downloading it and trying it, it's there. Full free.
It's awesome. It's so much fun. It's still going to improve as Kyle thinks of more ideas. Basically. Or if you ever listen to my ideas. That's the key right there to any successful game is just listen to Brent.
So happy Halloween! We got spookies. We got spookies above us right here and over in that corner. There's spookies. We got spookies in our thing.
Apparently we have spookies.
It's very spooky.
We had spookies.
Yep.
But with the Halloween theme, we have Kyle in a lovely Iron Man mask. Can we see that again quickly? That's 3D printed, correct?
Yeah.
Very
nice. Full of glory.
That is quite fantastic. I'm not nearly prepared, and frankly, I don't think I have a costume. Brent, do you have anything for Halloween that you plan on doing?
Oh, no. Other than gaining weight. That's pretty much the only thing I'm planning on doing. Halloween, I find this year has come at the worst time. It's come right at the end of cross country. The one thing that guarantees I go out and exercise every day. And...
Isn't it the end of cross country? Meaning now that cross country's done, you can sit around and eat Halloween candy?
That's the worst time for it though, because now I'm
not
going to be able to
best time because you don't have to worry about gaining weight and trying to keep up with the kids.
See, but then if I did that, at least I would be burning those calories. Instead,
I won't
be keeping up with the kids.
You're looking at this the entirely wrong way. I assure you, this is an opportunity. This is the best time.
Get my winter fat ready. Get ready for winter.
Well, yeah, you got to insulate.
By going to Torber.
Little guys like you get cold in the winter. Like it happens.
Yeah, but it's Seattle. I don't think it gets cold anymore. Really.
I'm pretty sure when I was hiking there, we found snow.
We did, but that's the mountains. I'd have to go looking for it. You have to go
I don't
search
even know if
for
that qualifies as a mountain. Can we really say that I climbed a mountain? If I can climb it, is it a mountain?
How high does the thing have to be before it's considered a mountain?
I think it's got to be over.
Like, am I just basically already on top of the mountain because I am like base 8,000 some feet?
You are.
Yeah.
Like in Wisconsin,
absolutely.
That would be a mountain climbing 8,000 feet.
You are in a mountain. Yes, yeah. Kyle. You live on a mountain. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I feel like if you climb over like 1,000 feet or 15, maybe over 2,000.
How high of a climb did we hike?
I will do a little research and I'll get back to you.
Okay, yeah. Let me know what that was. As for my Halloween update, we have raked the leaves in our yard so that we look like the rest of our very nice neighborhood because we've been slacking.
So adult of you.
It really is. We are #adulting so hard at the Stabby House, the Halloween themed
Stabby House.
Yes,
stabbing things.
Dangerous. That sounds really dangerous. I don't know.
Yes. So we will be hanging knives from the trees and stabbing people. No,
that is a way to
free knives, kids. Just come on by, grab a knife off our tree.
Exactly.
We wiped all our fingerprints already, so it's all on you.
We're gonna go all out and not do anything besides put our carved pumpkins outside and leave the light on so that the kiddos can come get candy. I do have a lot of candy. I'm excited about that. I was considering doing something with Ghost, but I'm usually too lazy to do anything, and she's just going to go nuts over the doorbell anyway. So Ghost is going to look cute, and we'll hand out some candy. I don't have a costume. I'm a little lame this year. I did get the opportunity this last weekend to go out, though. I wasn't intending to go out, actually. It was a friend's birthday, and he had a situation where a couple of his friends and roommates who he was supposed to hang out with had some other plans pop up, and he was going to be stuck on his birthday without much going on. So I made a point of hanging out with him. We had a blast playing some Mario Party on the GameCube, and I'm 2-0, despite him bragging relatively that he had mopped the floor with his roommates and that they couldn't beat him, and they teamed up against him, and it didn't matter. I showed up and I showed out, and I am 2-0. I showed no mercy for the young man on his birthday. So don't feel bad about that, frankly.
There's some things you just don't show mercy on, and Mario Party is one of those.
Mario Party is one of them.
Mario Party, Monopoly, Risk, that they just end friendships.
Yes.
Mario Kart as well.
Oh, no doubt. I was actually, I've told both of you already, but I'll share with everyone. I was considering getting a Switch, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to. I'm hoping to get like a Black Friday deal if I can. But Mario Party should be coming out for the Switch.
It's already
and
out.
I am very interested in spending way too much time playing people online, because I'm sure there's the capability of playing people online. And I'm going to spend way too much time playing Mario Party and Mario Kart and other games. Although the Mario Kart, it was like the number 8? I think it's been out for way too long. Like they almost need another Mario Kart for the Switch.
Yeah, so they took the Wii U Mario Kart and basically
that's
just
what it was, because I played it on Wii U.
Added a little bit to it, and then gave you everything at once. You didn't have to buy any DLC. You just got like all the DLC at once. So it's like kind of a cop out, but it still is a super good game.
A new Mario Kart, because I had the Wii U one. Because we were one of the few families that bought a Wii U, but I liked it. It was a fun system. But at any rate, I got the chance to go out after kicking his rear end in Mario Party, and then got to go check out Up Down, which is a gamer bar in the cities, and it was a lot of fun to go play. I think I took Kyle and Juliana there.
Yeah, that was a good place.
Up Down, we went there. And you got your fair share of people in costumes, and that always makes it really entertaining. The one piece of weird culture I'll share on the weekend, though, and I guess it's prevalent with that community. It's a lot of smokers. I was kind of disappointed, because it ended up being a pretty nice night to just hang out outside, and a lot of the bar is actually outside, where you can hang out and play different games, still standing outside technically, or on the roof. And a lot of smokers. It was interesting. Like, I don't run into a lot of smokers in my day-to-day life, and I'm pretty busy. I'm in the city a lot, and I see a lot of different things. But that was kind of a blast from the past with respect to being in bars and in areas where smoking is prevalent. But other than that, had a great night. Got to see some lovely costumes. I didn't dress up, but I was dressed up. Or the friends that were planning on going out were dressed up. So. That was very fun. They had some onesies that were some pretty interesting costumes, but not always PG-13. So
if I may, what I've been seeing, and I don't know if this is a trend that you've noticed in your respective cities, but costumes these days have turned into, I'm just gonna wear my pajama onesies, and that's a costume. And I don't know how I feel about that. It seems pretty lazy.
I mean, I put way too much time into the helmet. I just got myself an Iron Man T-shirt.
Yeah.
The helmet took so long. I was going to get a T-shirt.
You have the helmet though. You're not just saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go on Amazon and buy the same like giraffe or unicorn onesie that every other person has and wear that for Halloween."
Let me see.
Oh, Nick is stripping.
This is what I wore out. I wore this sweatshirt because it was cold, and I had a Batman shirt underneath.
He hasn't changed since.
That's the best I can do.
Now it's been 4 days since then.
Changed. No, I just I'm doing laundry, and that was what was on my floor, and I'm just like, okay, I'll wear this and wash it last. So that's kind of my technique. So,
Nick, if I may, 2 things. Number 1, with your dog Ghost, I feel like you're gonna be like, have kids come up and be like, "Oh yeah, this is Ghost," and they'll be like, "Oh, you just changed his name for Halloween." Ah ha ha. I feel like you're gonna get called out on that. I think that's gonna be funny. Be like, "Nope, no, her name is legit Ghost. Like that's the name of my dog." Second thing is,
if I'm this out there,
I thought about this.
Why? Oh, yeah.
No, go ahead, Brent.
Go ahead.
If I may?
If I may, I just say people have all these great ideas and then they quickly jump on to the next thing. We need to talk a little slower so people like me can jump in with ideas such as Nick's costume of dress up as Ghost and you could be Jon Snow, Nick. That's all I wanted to add. Continue. You could go Game of Thrones, be Jon Snow,
there you go.
Have your, and there'd be more screen time for your Ghost than probably actually. There's been more screen time on this podcast of Ghost than the last season of Game of Thrones.
That is true.
But, sorry, Kyle, continue. I apologize.
I thought about this last episode, Nick, when you were talking about lighting for your potential, because you said you had some trees by your house that have high potential for, lightage and decoration in future years. So when I get a house eventually, I think I'm going to go this strategy. I think you should do it too, where you just get those multicolor lights with the button where you can change it to whatever color you want. You'll leave them in the trees all the time, and then just depending on the season, you just change the color. Or if it's like during the summer, you can just have them plain white to just light up your backyard. 4th of July, you start a red, white, blue cycle. Halloween, you get like an orange and purple cycle. Christmas, you just leave them on all the time. You never take your lights down. I think that's the winner right there.
So not a bad idea. However, this is a great segue into when I first bought my house. The trees in front had lights that the tree had grown over. Like the lights had been on the trees for so long that the cords were cut rather than take them down because renters are lazy and horrible human beings. So they left these lights that were disconnected in the tree for what had to have been 4 or 5 years, I'm guessing. And I had to take my hunting knife and I had to cut the lights out of a tree. Now, if you wrapped it loosely, I'm sure you could do something like that. But I'm in general just not a huge fan of leaving lights there all year round. I think it's kind of tacky. Like holidays,
not tacky. Absolutely not tacky.
Definitely tacky in the middle of summer. It says I'm lazy, and it says that I haven't changed things out. Now, I could see how it'd be advantageous, or if you actually lit them up all year round with different colors or themes. Okay, I'll get on board with that. But to just have them there and not have them lit up for like 8 months, and wait for Halloween and Christmas, it's just kind of like, eh.
Okay, every like 2 months you're lighting them up.
So if you lit them up for a holiday, yeah. But I'm saying it's unfortunately there's more logistics to it. There's more details. You don't want after 2 years of that to have the tree start to overgrow. You're going to have to replace light bulbs and all the other details. That's one of the advantages of taking them down and taking them out. You can quickly kind of adjust light bulbs.
Nowadays with the LEDs.
They're not up in a tree for that. But there's a lot of different things you could do. As for the first comment, though, with Ghost and her name being for Halloween, let's be honest. When you were kids, were you concerned about what the dog's name was at the house you went to? Your operation is to come in, yell trick or treat, get the candy, get the hell out, get to the next house so I can fill my candy bag.
Yeah, like, houses per hour.
No one has ever taken the time to be like, oh, thank you for this candy. And how are you? Oh, and who is this? Like, kids are get in, get out. Don't say anything necessary outside of
trick or treat.
Bye. Thank you, or thank you. A lot of them will say thank you. If they don't say thank you, they were raised very poorly. But
if they say thank you, they get an extra piece of candy.
Towards the end of the night, I guess.
They
I
used to
have
just give
that's
out
the other
handfuls.
thing in a neighborhood where I'm at. I have no idea how many kids to expect. I bought a bag of 400 pieces, I think, so I should absolutely be covered and be able to give them one or two pieces at least to start. And then towards the end of the night, assuming that I have a bunch left, I can just start dumping it
Start
in
doing the
whoever's
handfuls.
bucket. But my policy, I don't know if I shared this last week or not. My memory is a little hazy. My policy is one or two pieces of candy for myself, and that's it. I get my calories through beer and soda and everything else. So having additional candy is not acceptable
One for you, one
my
for me.
my
One
weight
for
maintenance
you,
plan.
one for me.
Exactly.
So I
But
gotta throw in there. It sounds like with 400 pieces of candy, you have a hill of candy. So a mountain used to be defined. It's not really defined anymore as anything other than a hill. But a mountain used to be defined as summits of more than 1,000 feet, and hills less than that. Not totally official, but that's what we'll go off of. Snow Lake was 4,400 feet, and you walked up 1,800 feet of elevation. So, mountain hike.
You climbed a mountain.
Definitely
Congrats,
a mountain
Nick.
hike. But you do
Thanks.
not have a mountain of candy, so get on that. The kids need you.
Your candy's got to be 1,000 feet
pieces,
high,
guys. 400 pieces. Like that's a lot of kids.
Well, it depends on what kind of
I'm in
candy. If we're talking
I'm in a
Tootsie Rolls,
suburban neighborhood now, so legitimately, if every second or third house has kids, which I think most of them probably do, at least every other house has kids of some age, is my understanding. We could end up with a ton of kids, and then I don't know if we're close enough to other areas or apartment complexes. The one advantage, we have the elderly homes nearby us. So I think if someone was going to take advantage, if you were going to take your kids to go get a bunch of candy, you'd hit up like the elderly home, because they're going to they're just happier than hell to see you, and they'll give you anything they got. I don't know if my neighborhood would be targeted.
Here's my
We're certainly not in one of the rich neighborhoods. Although one of my big things, if I ever quote unquote make it in life, meaning if I have more money than I know what to do with, we're talking if I'm a not even a millionaire, because I'm going to do that at some point, but like a 5 millionaire or
Kyle and I can help you with ideas.
One of the things I want to do
about not
I want to
if you need to spend money, we got you covered.
When I get to that point, I'll let you know.
We will help you.
But one of the things I want to do is I desperately want an F-150, because I'm a fanboy who just wants to drive a Ford, and I want it to be a truck, and that will make me manly, because I'm not manly enough, and a truck would make me manly. We can dive into what that means for me as a human being and how I'm insecure and all the other lovely nonsense. I just want an F-150. At any rate, that would be one thing I'd get. The other thing we could hold on. The other thing I would do is on Halloween, I would get full-size candy bars for the kids.
Oh yeah, king-sized candy bars.
I don't want to kill them. Like, can you imagine?
Get the
Can you imagine a king-size candy bar plus everything else they're getting? Like, full size is still like their eyes get big, like, wow,
my God.
But like, yeah, if you roll out a king size, like, that's their trick or treating for the night. They're done. Like, they can't fit anything else.
That just means they're coming back to you at the end of the night.
Yeah.
I live in a king size neighborhood.
Although I saw an interesting. But okay, I have another tangent to run off on. Brent, did you have a comment you wanted to insert there? Oh, was I talking too fast?
You talked too fast. I forgot it.
Okay. The other thing I saw on Facebook recently was regarding the Halloween was a Facebook post. On Facebook, because that's where Facebook posts are. Anyway, the thing I saw was a post basically stating that people were against other people ripping on teenagers for being too old, or scolding kids like, aren't you too old to trick or treat? And then it went on like a long spree of, I remember childhood and growing up, and it was, it's difficult being a teenager, and it gets so hard being an adult. Like, if you just want to make your childhood last a little bit longer, and I can do that by giving you a piece of candy on Halloween, you come to my house. And like basically ripped on how hard being an adult is. And it's like, here, just extend your childhood a little longer. Have a piece of candy from me. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's a little overkill.
High school,
but not a bad point.
You're okay to still go trick-or-treating as long as you're in like the group and you're all actually dressed up. None of this.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going as a football player and just wearing my football outfit. Like,
What's wrong with football?
Outfit.
There's
I'm not
something
saying
wrong
there's
with
nothing wrong with football.
It's a
I'm saying if you
uniform.
already are a football player and you're going as Halloween dressed as a football player, no, that doesn't work. But I mean,
It's perfect. You could just go right after practice.
yeah, okay.
You go to football practice, you come home, and you just stop at every house on the way.
Oh yeah.
Trick or treat. You don't even have to have a bag. You use your helmet.
Your helmet. Your nice sweaty helmet
Trick or treat.
that you puked on a couple weeks ago or whatever.
Whatever.
You gotta respect the uniform, Kyle, first and foremost.
What?
But if
What?
you called it an outfit, like they're in cheerleading or something.
Ooh.
Ouch. I don't even play football, and I'm offended somehow. Don't know why.
I missed it. I don't even care.
Anyway, so my thought about this and Nick's idea on the post. Yes, there are some hardships of being an adult, but at the same time, when I was in high school, I would never be able to go out and buy a candy bar. Now, if I wanted to, I can go buy myself a king-size candy bar.
You were never able to buy yourself a
I'm
candy
gonna
bar in
hit
high
pause
school?
there.
I could have, but
if I
never,
may.
like, I wouldn't drive out to get one. I wouldn't do it. Like, I don't know. I can get a king-size candy bar, and no one's gonna say anything about it, though.
Brent is an adult, and he can get a king-size candy bar if he wants.
Yes.
So what was stopping you as a high schooler?
I mean, let's see. If I was like a freshman, I wouldn't have a car. I didn't really have
You
money at
never
that
went
time
to
because
the
I wasn't
store
working.
and had $1.
Never really walked to the store. Why would I go to the
So
grocery
you
store
weren't working
on my own?
and you didn't have money. Okay. Well, this is something you could fix. You weren't driven enough to get the candy you deserved, young man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'd be growing up and forcing myself to grow up early to get that candy bar. But now that I have, I can get that candy bar. So I'm just saying.
It took you 20 how many years to grow up and say that you can go buy a candy bar?
That's the benefit. But the thing is, even then, as an adult, if you want candy for breakfast, you get candy for breakfast. Not recommended for health reasons, but you can do it. As a high schooler, I had whatever I had made for me for breakfast or cereal.
See, you had somebody making your own breakfast. I'm sure if you had somebody making your own breakfast today, you'd also have whatever they put in front of you.
But they wouldn't put candy in front of me. But now that I'm an adult, I can put candy.
I bet she would.
Yeah, I bet you if you're like, Heather, can I please have you make me a candy bar to give me tomorrow morning for breakfast? I'm sure she would.
Truth be told, with her being a doctor, I doubt she would. But we're gonna.
Right, she might not.
Absolutely not.
She'd be like, no.
There's no way I could get that. But as an adult, I can go do that because I have.
I just know from experience her sister would not be okay with it if I asked. But I make my own breakfast, so it's never a problem.
All right, if I may, changing topics here. So I've been helping out their robotics team recently, and this last weekend they had one of their competitions. And so it was a roller coaster. So number one, the scoreboard they had was like not working. So in the final matches, there's 4 teams brought in. There's 8 teams in playoffs, one of them being a wild card. And then, Nick's bored already. Yawning.
I was yawning.
So there's 8 teams pulled in the playoffs. And then starting in playoffs, there was no scoreboard. So we had no idea like where anybody stood. And so we made it to the final 4. So, and then throughout the day, we were like number 2 or number 3. So we knew we were up there. But then like going into the final 4, we know we're top 4. So like we made the finals, and then you play 3 matches in finals where they kind of rotate. It's like 4 people on a field at a time, but they rotate your position for 3 of the. You think they just do 4 matches and make it so that way you hit each section of the field. But anyhow, you play 3 fields, and then at the end it's the total points. But like during those 3 matches for the finals, there's no scoreboard. Like the projectors just had like somebody's background for their computer up, so we had no idea where we stood. And so we sit, competition's over, whatever. We sit down and they start handing out the awards. They start with like the BS awards, like, best rookie team. Best spirit
most
award.
Improved.
Most robust robot award. Like, the BS awards. Give them a plaque.
Okay, Malcolm Brogdon a couple years ago for the Bucks was rookie of the year. That's not a BS award. He earned that thing. Okay, never mind.
In a professional sport, the rookie of the year is maybe a bigger deal, but in a high school, middle school level competition, the rookie team is it's kind of there's 3 rookie teams total, or something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's BS.
Anyhow, so
best teamwork award.
Yeah, exactly. And then
You
so
can't
we get
judge
to
teamwork.
like the towards the real awards, and one of the awards is best engineering notebook, which like each team has to submit a notebook that like describes their process of making their robot, like what they did, like how they solved their problems, blah blah blah. And then as they were announcing this award, they're saying this award is given to a team that did not make the top 3. And then they called our school's name. And we're all like, oh, God, that means we got 4th of the top 4. Like, God. So, but that award also still qualifies you to move on. So it's kind of like bittersweet. It's like, oh, we didn't get top 3, but we still get to move on to the next competition. Like, woohoo.
That's
whatever.
like a kick in the pants award.
Right? So we go down there, we shake the people's hands, we get our award, and the teacher that is like the teacher for it. I'm like, there's the teacher and I'm the mentor, or one of the mentor, or there's only 2 of us running this thing. Anyhow, he's like, kind of bittersweet, right? And we're like preparing our "it's okay, guys" speech. Like, you guys still did awesome. Like, blah blah blah. We get there, we get our picture taken, we go back up to the stands, and then they start calling off like the actual winners, like the game award for winning, doing the most points. They're like 4th place. And then they didn't call our school. They called another school. And we're like, what? Like, we were in the top 4. We made the finals, and we didn't make 4th place. So we're in the top 3. What's going on here? And they call up 3rd place. Not our school. 2nd place. Not our school. And so we ended up winning the whole thing. And somehow also winning the award that we weren't supposed to be able to win.
Congratulations.
Right? So,
yay, scoring.
Right? It was awesome because like
Not
all the kids were
only
like
did
super
you
bummed,
win.
being like, "Oh, like we still move on though, like whatever." And they were 2nd or 3rd the entire year or the entire day, so we assumed we were going 2 or 3. And it would have been super cool because they had to they changed the robot halfway through the day. They like made a brand new part. They initially went for like a grabbing robot thing, trying to grab stuff. There's a big pool of objects. I need to grab, and they're going for grabbing them. And then halfway through the day, they switch to like a wedge to just knock stuff off. And there's knocking stuff off counted as points as well. So they just kind of switch strategies halfway through the day. Oh yeah. So they were all like kind of down a little bit, like, oh, 4th place, or whatever. And then they ended up winning it. And so they're all freaking out, and they got the gold medals. And we did the whole like biting the gold medal for the picture. It was great. Good time.
So
Not only did you win. No, go ahead.
If I may,
You may.
This whole format, Brent.
But when he's done
if
with the
I may,
sentence, I can just go.
if I may, what I'd like to say is you sent the loudest polo I think I've ever received. Like, you sent a recording via the Marco Polo app. If you don't have it, it's a lovely app. Although Snapchat seems to have caught up in some senses, but we still use it because we're innovative like that. But the polo you sent over was the loudest video ever. Like, you have everybody screaming during what I'm assuming was the actual competition, and yeah, it looked pretty intense, like camping. A lot of fun and a lot of different things going on. Sorry, I like that pun too much not to do it, but was really, really cool. And the other thing I wanted to say on all the BS awards, that is a product of our generation, unfortunately. I could go off on a full tangent and rant on how it's horrible and how Simon Sinek, among other inspirational speakers, addresses millennials in the workplace and how they've been set up to fail because they've been raised by parents who teach them they're special and teach them they can have anything they want, and there's an instant gratification society and blah 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 blah, that basically say that this whole generation has been raised incorrectly or poorly, and the business world doesn't know what to do with them because they can't handle reality. That's the problem. All these BS awards, and everyone needs to feel special. And I know you feel the same way, Kyle. So I'm not concerned about that at all. But yeah, I like the way that you called it out, kind of like all the garbage awards for people who didn't win. But hey, you spent a lot of time on this, so it's really special.
I think in Cub Scouts, sorry if I may. I think in Cub Scouts, Brent won the most colorful Derby car award at one point.
I wasn't going to get personal. I wasn't going to get personal, but ouch.
But that's what I gun for it, though. If you're trying to get the most colorful award and you were competing to get the most colorful award and you won it, and that was the only thing you won all of Club Scouts,
So
that's what I was going for. I didn't
the
want the fastest
analogy,
car.
the analogy for the real world, if I may, in the business situation is the company is looking to outsource their business or to have somebody provide them with a service. They send out an RFP, and all the competitors respond to that RFP, and the top candidate is selected. Now, Kyle and I are fans of winning the RFP, and if you don't win, you didn't get the business, meaning you don't get the revenue. It doesn't matter. Now, what Brent appears to have done was to segment the RFP and pick out where he specializes. He specializes in the customer service department.
Market.
So despite not being able to handle the distribution aspect of the RFP, he's over here handling the customer service. And he was so good at the customer service that they actually took a full RFP and said, okay, we're actually going to give this piece over to Brent because he's really good at this. The rest of it will give to the actual winner of everything else. But the winner in business, the winner's portion is reduced by the portion taken by a specialist in that situation. But yeah, everyone else who gets all the lovely other awards in the real world, you don't get anything. You go home and you find a new job because you're broke. But hey, sorry, harsh to reality. We're gonna move on.
So
Brent, what do you got?
We're not, because I had to add this in. I just wanted to say how Kyle's your team is like the dream crusher, and that not only did you win the whole thing, but you also eliminated the possibility of another team getting the best engineering.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. That's
good. You just like stomped on dreams a lot.
I would have felt so bad for the other team. I was like, so they get to fourth place. They're about to announce fourth place. We're like, okay, it's us. Like, everybody get ready to stand up. They announce the other team. I was like, well, we didn't get fourth place. They get nothing. So we're top three. Which means that team was probably, when they heard us, we won that award, they're probably like, yes, we made top three. And then when they got called for fourth place, they was like, oh.
Evidently not.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, you broke their dreams. Crushed them.
So,
but go ahead. I had a segue. You know what that's not crushed yet? Fall. Fall is holding on strong, at least in the Pacific Northwest. I thought last week it started raining a little bit. I was like, brace yourself. Winter is coming. It's not. It's beautiful. It is
currently
still
snowing for me.
The colors are out phenomenally. I mean, I don't know what your situations are, but fall is fighting and clawing, and it's not going anywhere.
Currently snowing.
Until it leaves next week. So fall is giving up for you. How about you, Nick? Is fall?
I just raked leaves with Megan when I got home from work today. So
fall is
I am still very much so in fall. However, on more than one occasion, we have had snow in the early hours of the morning where it's stuck to the ground, actually. It's all, of course, melted, and we're actually looking. I haven't looked at the forecast, but if it's anything like a couple days, it's going to be a very pleasant Halloween, which is nice. But I'm a bigger fan of bring the snow as soon as possible. One, for hunting season, which is November 15th in Michigan, which is where I hunt. And two, bring the snow because a lot of my friends, if not all my friends in Minneapolis and Minnesota area are cross-country skiers. So the faster there's snow on the ground, the faster they're happier, more pleasant people to be around. Additionally, this year I will be committing again to regularly cross-country skiing. Last year, I think I went once a week on Tuesdays. Don't quote me on that. With Megan to cross-country ski. And I don't claim to have done anything fantastic. I went a fair distance. If it was too cold, I whined about it because that's what I do. I complain. But my hope this year, with us now living very close to the ski area, is to commit to racing a very short race in the late spring.
100 yards or so.
So, no, I think I think the shortest race is the Prince for the Berkey event, which is like the big event for cross-country skiers in the late spring. It's the big event, evidently, in the Midwest, is the Berkey. And there is a 10K race the day before the Berkey on a Friday that I am allegedly, probably, if everything goes well with training, going to attempt for the giggles of it so that I can say that I've done one at least. I don't have any great passion for it, but if I can just put in my music and do my little jams and
It's like
go
jogging,
ski for a little bit.
A little bit of an exercise.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be fantastic to do it. It's a good life sport. Not selling it because I'm not a huge person, but I'm also not echoing what everyone else is saying. Like I do believe it's a good life sport. It's easy on the joints. It's something that is beneficial, and I need to be getting active as I'm getting married in June and need to figure this whole life thing out. So part of my plan is to commit to that and regularly ski. In the background of Brent's camera here, we are seeing Maple. Vigilantly watching out the window, wagging her tail, being adorable and such.
If I may, before we go on Brent's life sport tangent, I'm sure he'll hit up. Boulder totally pulled off a total classic Boulder yesterday and today. Yesterday, it was almost 80 degrees outside. This morning, their leaf blower people were out on the lawns all around my business that I work at, and it's currently snowing. So we got almost 80 yesterday. Snow, like leaf blowers this morning, and now it's snowing. So solid. It'll probably be like 80 tomorrow.
I can compete with that. Not consistently, but when I was in Houghton, I believe it was my junior or senior year in Houghton of college, there was a St. Patrick's Day, particularly memorable, or maybe not memorable if you know what I mean, day. But all throughout Houghton, there was a ton of snow on the ground, and it's been cold, and St. Patrick's Day hit, and it legitimately got to, I won't claim 80. It may have been. I forget how hot it was, but it was at least 70 to 75 degrees. It may have hit 80 with 5 feet of snow plus on the ground, which was a really, really cool experience. And Houghton has just crazy weather in the spring because the snow takes forever to melt, and the first heat wave that'll hit, like true heat wave, 70s, 80s, can come as early as like March, and you're just like, okay, like we've still got more snow coming for the next, at least month and a half. But yeah, kind of crazy. It's really fun when you kind of have that crazy weather. I prefer having the snow and having it be super hot, and I think a lot of skiers like that too. So you can go out and ski and basically in a t-shirt. But the inverse would be a little bit goofy too, where you don't have the snow yet, but it is snowing versus it was 80 degrees. It's more depressing when it first comes in, I think. Pretty, but varies. At any rate, we had a rant on life sports.
No, wait, I don't have a rant, but quick question for you. Isn't the Berkey, hasn't that been like canceled the last few years or whatever because of it's either too much snow or not enough snow? Or
too much snow will never be a problem for the Berkey. Number one. Number two, I have only been involved with the Berkey processes for 2 years. I think the first year I was ever exposed to it, Megan did it, and I did not go to support her because I had no interest, frankly. But we were early enough in our relationship where me not having an interest wasn't a big deal.
Now you're forced. You're mandatory to have interest.
The first year I attended the Berkey, which was 2 years ago, I went, and you're correct, it was canceled. There was not enough snow. Less than half an hour or 45 minutes north, there was enough snow, and a lot of the skiers went there to dink around. But the Berkey was canceled, so we all just went to the bar, and that was a rough way to go. Meeting it. Awesome. And then last year, the Berkey was in full swing, and I got to watch all of the folks do the Berkey, and I was a spectator. And after the Berkey, we went to the bars and ate pizza and McDonald's and all the other lovely stuff that people do post-Berkey. And then we went out to the bar, which is a secret location that I'm not allowed to share with everybody. Also, I just don't remember the name. But yeah, had a great experience.
After the Berkey, you went to the bars, and after the bars, you went to another special bar?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
There's a lot I was confused for last year because the Berkey took place, I think, during the Olympics last year. And I, for some reason, thought that the collaboration there, like all the top skiers were elsewhere. Sochi, was it? Yes, Sochi. All the top
Speaking of
skiers
Olympic
were in
sports,
Korea.
America now owns curling. I don't know if anybody knew this, but Mr. Mario from the last Winter Olympics made it so that way curling is officially an Olympics, a USA Olympic sport. You know, some sports are like country sports, like basketball. That's a U.S. sport, like U.S. sport.
Yeah,
fair enough. It was invented in the U.S., correct?
Hockey is Canadian.
Or
Maybe,
actually, it was in
but
Canada.
the U.S. is the only
I
competitive
think basketball
one.
was invented in Canada.
It was Naismith. Yep.
Basketball
But
I don't know
is
why I
a
remember
United
that.
States winning sport. Like the downhill skiing, a lot of times is like Switzerland or like, you know, those countries. It's just those countries win those sports. Curling used to not really be an America sport, and now from the last Olympics, it's now an America sport.
I thought we got pwned at curling, though.
Not last year. We won
Now
the
last
gold.
year,
I tried claiming that at the curling club on Sunday. They were asking, why do I use this hand motion that other people do? I was like, well, no, this is how I learned in Wisconsin, where the Olympic curler, gold medal curler are from. And I was like, I was always told that using the hand motion the other way is how the Canadians do it. And I was like, well, since Canada lost at the Olympics, should we really be following the Canadian way? And they were just like, what are you talking about? Like, they're still the best at it. I'm like, no, we won. We're the best. Till 4 years is up, and then we lose again.
So Brent curls. That's what you take away from that.
yeah. Well, Brent and I have a pretty good curling story. So when I was in the Wisconsin facility for my company, I was in the manufacturing portion of it. There was a guy there that his dad, I forgot what company he worked for, but they were like right across the street from the building we were in. And they had a sale on Olympic gear. Like they had like the previous Olympics gear, they just had a whole warehouse of it. And they were trying to get rid of it. Like literally the most expensive thing there was $2. You could get t-shirts, hats, water bottles. There's these glass globe things they're trying to give away for free. We grabbed like 20 of the things and loaded up somebody's desk with them.
Olympics. It's not the last one. It's the one before that. So that's like 8 years ago.
Yeah. So it was really old Olympic stuff. But it was all brand new.
Year.
So anyhow, Brent was actually in town for whatever reason during that. So he went with me and we just grabbed a bunch of stuff. And a couple of things we bought were these poofer jackets. I can go grab one at some point in time if we wish, or maybe I'll wear it some podcast. But it's the poofer jacket, and they had the Olympic rings on it. And so I think it was maybe that weekend or the weekend after, Juliana and myself went to visit Brent and Heather when they were living in Madison. We ended up rolling. Oh, Brent, are you getting the poofer jacket? I think
He can't hear you, but yes.
I assume so. But we ended up wearing these 4 poofer jackets all over Madison. We were like all rocking these zip up poofer jackets that are all like USA Olympics on them. Oh, yeah, Brent's coming back rocking it. But it was hilarious because we were like, okay, we had constantly had people asking us like, are you guys in the Olympics? And so we had to make up a story. And so we're like, yeah, we're in the Olympics. We're in the Junior Olympic, or what did we say? We're in the mixed.
The U.S. Olympic curling team.
Yeah, the U.S. Olympic mixed curling. And that was before curling was a United States sport. But we're like, yeah, we're the U.S. Olympic curling team. And so, yeah,
they
we
don't
listened
even
to like 3 or 4 different people, like one of them being our waitress at lunch, wherever we were eating lunch. And yeah, it was a good time, but it was kind of funny.
Completely believed us.
And we're like, Brent, you need to be the one to make up curling terms because we don't really know what we're talking about. Because, Juliana and myself, I guess, we're not in the best shape. We'll say we're not we don't look like Olympic athletes. We'll put it that way. We're not
no curler.
We're not big
like
by any means. But we don't look like Olympic athletes.
If you look at the Olympics for curling, I'm pretty sure it just looks like a bunch of 40-something-year-old dads who got lost and are standing on the ice.
Fun story. Most
what's going on
likely,
over here?
if the curlers, while they were curling the Olympics for the gold medal game, weren't drunk already, they definitely were drunk like right after. Usually when you curl, so there's a tradition in curling that called broom stacking, where sometimes in the middle of a game, you can just call out you want a broom stack or whatever. You put your brooms on the ice, you go inside, you have a beer, then you finish the beer and you go back out and finish the game.
That's a Wisconsin sport right there for sure.
Legitimately in the middle of the game. So we've been curling.
I'd love to hear, if I may, I'd love to hear the announcers at the Olympics be like, and the Canadian team is really pondering this. Oh my
Johnny's broomstick.
They called a broomstick.
He called a broomstick. Everyone is heading into the pub.
I don't think Germany can keep up with them.
Emptying out as the broomstick has been declared. It's like, and for whatever reason, I brought. I think it was the weekend I was hanging out, weekend party with the guy's birthday it was, and I brought up the old South Park reference where shenanigans has been declared, and everyone has to go get their broomstick. It's a great look up. If you're bored, look up shenanigans South Park, and there'll be a great clip. And it's a whole episode where they're anytime shenanigans is declared, everyone gets their broomstick and basically shoos everybody out of the town or something crazy like that. But sorry, really random, but I get excited every time I hear shenanigans because of that reference. And that would be like oh no, they're stacking the broomstick, like shenanigans has been declared, everyone is evacuating the facility to go to the bar. Like that would be a great announcer moment. I digress.
It is probably one of the few sports that you could go out before an Olympic match, have a beer, and then continue to go on as even. Like you're probably used to it.
Right, a little loose. You're probably used to. What's another sport that if you're a little loose, not quite on edge, like if you take a drink, it might actually help you in that sport.
Football, legitimately, as recently as in the last 10 years, certain football teams have been known to partake in a pregame shot before they go out. And additionally, if you look at some of the historical films of football and you see the players in the sidelines, I'm talking old school football, like 70s, 80s, maybe before that even. Before that, certainly, for what I'm about to say. But, I mean, there were guys who were smoking on the sideline. There were guys who were drinking on the sideline. They do whatever they can. Hi, Juliana.
Juliana's going to Chili's.
Chili's, okay. We won't tell anybody.
I don't even know there was a Chili's around here.
They've got the baby back ribs. That's all I know. But at any rate, football is another sport where people would drink or take a shot or something like that beforehand. But I'd say most athletic sports can probably do it. It's just frowned upon by society. It's one of those things that, that's the habit of an alcoholic or, whatever. So you keep that on the down low or you don't do it. And you can do it in a lot of different ways, but especially when it's an accuracy thing. You can imagine like throwing darts would be the same, maybe bowling. There's another great sport, quote unquote, where you are helped out potentially by relaxing, getting in a groove, finding your zone. Golf, imagine that, another sport where drinking very close by. Like, name a bowling alley that doesn't have a bar associated with it. Name a golf course that doesn't serve beer. Like, impossible. Any sport where it's accuracy and your concentration, beer's pretty close by. Like, not saying you need it, but like, loosen up a little bit, relax, get your form in.
So, if I may, speaking of sports, we had a
wait. If I may, while we're staying on this alcohol and sports thing, I have a quick story before we segue into the next thing, which I'm excited for. But that reminds me of when we said football, Nick, of Packers legend Max McGee. First ever Super Bowl, the guy goes out till literally pulls an all-nighter basically till 6:30 in the morning, drinking, has a massive hangover, comes in, scores 2 touchdowns, basically like wins the Super Bowl for the Packers on a complete hangover.
I want to fact check this because I have no idea.
No, I've heard this before too.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Packers, I can tell by one of their looks on the face that Brent really wants to kick this discussion off.
Hold on. I think we officially need a zarubust like Segway image. Like the little dude on the Segway where you're leaning. Like we need like Segway. The Segway.
I don't have a Segway sound. I could maybe have a Segway sound, but I don't have a Segway sound.
Just like a horn, like a like that. We need Segway. Every time we have a Segway, the Segway comes across, and then
whoosh.
You hear the audio.
We need a whoosh.
Beep, beep. Whoosh. Beep, beep. Like, beep, beep. And here's this week's Nick Segway.
Segway of the week. NFL Segway of the week.
All right. Whoosh. You may continue.
Brent, start us off on this.
Again. In other news.
So if I may,
same
I
news,
have some
same
thoughts
news.
I'd
Green
like
Bay
to
Packer
share.
news.
I have some Packer news. I'm upset. Okay, go ahead.
No, Brent, you're leading this. Go.
I am upset. Honestly,
What
the
are you upset
Packers
about?
here. Aaron Rodgers is the best, most clutch quarterback at this time in the NFL. Packers have the Rams by the throat, right where they want them, down
He's the
2
GOAT.
points. The best guy, the guy who literally 2 weeks prior clutched out another last-minute win. Mason Crosby, one of the most accurate field goal kickers, minus the game that every announcer on television wants to talk about again and again and again. Oh, Mason Crosby, like earlier this season, missed 4 field goals. Well, come on, dude. Everyone has an off day. But
That was a really off day.
that was a bad off day. Like, if you're gonna have an
not
off
a good
day,
look
like,
for the brand.
4 field goal missing is a bad off day. But Mason Crosby is gonna make the game-winning kick. That's what he does most of the time. You have them right where you want them. You're getting the ball back with over 2 minutes to go. You kick off to Ty, I don't know how to play football, Montgomery, who decides to take it out and then fumbles it. I don't care if you take it out of the end zone. You're running clock out, whatever. Sounds smart. I blame the coaches. But don't fumble the ball. Don't take the ball out of the hands of your best quarterback. You know how you get top-notch quarterbacks to leave your organization or retire early? That's how. That's
So
what
if
you
I
do.
may,
You lose games
if I
like
may,
that.
when you refer to Mr. Montgomery, I believe you meant to say Ty, me, myself, and I, Montgomery. Sorry, that I thought of that when you were going through, and I thought
That's
it was a little
clever.
more fun. Thank you.
That's
and
tweetable.
the logic behind that, the logic behind that being, and I've read, I was consuming every article about the Packers I could over the last 2-3 days, just waiting for the trade deadline, and thankfully, Mr. Ty, me, myself, and I, Montgomery, is now gone. Unfortunately, we lost Haha, but we can touch on that in just a minute. The story here is that Ty Montgomery was a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, and he was transitioned to a running back role not this year, but the year before.
2 years
And
before, actually. It
2
was
years
the
was it?
end. It was the end. It was like the second
You're
half of the season
no.
2 years ago.
Because Jones and
finished the
Williams
season
were
out.
rookies last year.
Yeah, it was
And
the
that was
season
his-
before. It was the season before that is when he got transitioned over.
I
It might have
At
been
any
2
rate,
years.
I disagree.
Doesn't matter.
At any rate, 2 years ago, Ty Montgomery was set to be the starting running back for the Green Bay Packers post Eddie Lacy. And his 2 backups were Aaron Jones, a rookie at the time, and Williams. I forget what his first name is. But they were
Jamal.
nailed it.
So it was on the depth chart, Ty Montgomery, Jamal Williams, and then Aaron Jones, which is a coaching issue, which I think Mike McCarthy should be gone, but that's a whole separate segue tangent, whatever. Montgomery was the number one guy. And he had 2 rookies backing him up. And at that time, he was supposed to make this big transition. There were a lot of articles written about him. We were pretty up and up on him because he had been a good wide receiver for us. He had been solid, nothing special. No Jordy Nelson, no Devontae Adams, but a solid wide receiver nonetheless. And he was a little bigger frame, so we wanted to move him to running back. At any rate, it failed miserably. He was not durable. He had a lot of injury issues. Was not able to play more than a handful of games, I'm sure, in that first season. And the rookie running backs had the ability to show out. Ironically, and why I mentioned the depth chart in the first place, Aaron Jones, our 3rd string running back, identified himself very clearly as the number 1 running back, despite starting the season as 3rd. That's bad coaching. That's not realizing who you have. Williams is solid. I like him, not as much as Jones. That's just my take. At any rate, Montgomery fell due to injury and due to lack of productivity down the depth chart. We used him as a return man. Now, he's not getting a lot of plays. He's not getting a lot of opportunities. He's not a productive Green Bay Packer. They have him on the return squad because he's got reliable hands. Earlier in the Rams game, he was taken out after just 1 play of an offensive series. He came to the sideline upset, slammed his helmet, and was being very upset. Well, the Packers have crawled back into a position despite themselves, to win this game. You have Aaron Rodgers set in a position to do what Aaron Rodgers does.
The GOAT.
And Ty, me, myself, and I, Montgomery, goes out there after being told, yep, if it's in the end zone, we definitely want to take a knee because we have the best quarterback in the league. Goes out there looking out for me, myself, and I. If I were Ty, get it? No, I'm right. Yeah. He goes out there and he makes a boneheaded decision to catch the ball in the end zone and take it out. He, of course, then goes on to fumble. Now, I don't know exactly where he fumbled. I think he was short of the 25. If we can do some research.
Absolutely. I think it was like
we can do some research to confirm. I don't want to make an unfair claim. But not only did he take the ball out of the end zone, he failed to get to the 25. So already I'm thinking, and so is every other knowledgeable football Packer fan, that this guy's an idiot. What are you doing? And we saw him start to go down, and personally, I looked away. I'm like, okay, he's going down. And then I realized everyone was panicking because the ball was loose, and I'm just sitting there like, are you kidding me? You took the ball out of the end zone, you didn't get to the 25, and you fumbled? Like, this was the worst case scenario possible. Then he proceeded to not talk to the media after the game because he knew he had screwed up royally. A teammate anonymously ripped him a new one, reported exactly what I just said, that he noticed it was a selfish play. He was on a bit of a head trip. He is taken out of the offense and was upset about it. And his response was, I'm going to do me. I'm going to show everybody, despite the coaching, that this is what needs to happen. He put himself before the team and decided to try and make a play. And I don't disrespect trying to make a play, but there's simply there's a looking out for yourself or looking out for the team. And no one can acknowledge, pretend that he was trying to do something good. He was not for the team. He was trying to do it for himself. And it cost the team dearly. He fumbled. Even if here's the debate that's makes it more fair as to whether or not he should still be a Green Bay Packer, which he should not. If he had not fumbled, I still personally would have filed him in the idiot category for having taken it out of the end zone and not gotten to the 25.
So if I may.
Additionally, hold on. You may not. Yeah, just this once.
Go for it.
Just this once.
Additionally, it cost the Packers a free timeout because the time he took to run the ball got them past the 2-minute warning. Had he taken a knee, the Green Bay Packers had a free play to go down in the field of play, and the clock would have stopped after that play because of the 2-minute warning. When he ran the ball out, the clock went past 2 minutes, eliminating essentially a free timeout for Aaron Rodgers that would open up the playbook so that they could go to the middle and not have the repercussion of the clock still ticking. So one additional factor. But had he not fumbled, would he still be a Green Bay Packer? Probably, because McCarthy's a horrible coach. I think that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. He is now Bostic status in my department of just a useless player who has no business being on any team. The fact that we got a 7th rounder from the Ravens to replace this pile of steaming feces, deal. Take him. Like, honestly, if we didn't trade him, I think they would have cut him. I mean, fans are so upset with him, myself included. I'll shut up. Thank you for letting me rant.
How do you really feel,
Brett,
Nick?
take it away.
So Montgomery forgot 3 simple rules of the NFL game. Nick touched on this a little bit. He forgot rule number 1, that it no longer, when you take a knee, the ball no longer goes just to the 20, it goes to the 25. Montgomery, in fact, only made it to the 20-yard line before he coughed it up. The second one he forgot about was the 2-minute warning, that if you stop the clock before 2 minutes is up and then it goes to 2 minutes, you get an extra timeout. Just like Nick said, you were absolutely correct. And the third rule he forgot is that if you let the ball bounce through the back of the end zone, it's a touchback as well. Montgomery gave the excuse that I saw was that, I thought that it might, if I took a knee there,
he lied.
It might have landed on the 1-yard line. Or I might have had my foot on the line. It would have counted.
He was at least 2 or 3 yards in.
And I was like, my friend, if you just don't catch the ball and let it bounce through, which I believe is something you can completely do in the NFL today, it would have been touchback anyway. You don't need to touch that ball at all.
If
Unless
I may,
it's a squib kick.
if I
Which
may,
is not.
the coaching in that situation, because that was discussed on sports radio this morning. Like I said, I've consumed everything I possibly could until the trade deadline. Sports radio addressed that very comment this morning, and the coaching in that situation. The NFL has figured out how to do that. As a league, there's a very simple rule. As a return man, you stand on the goal line. If the ball is going to land in front of you, catch it.
Mm.
If the ball is going to land next to you, you can either catch it or let it bounce through the end zone. If it's over your head, you either catch it or let it go. There's no scenario where you're unsure if you're standing on the goal line. This is not a game of, oh, I could have been here, I could have been there. And if you have that level of awareness, you're an idiot to begin with. But that was addressed. Coaching has said the players are to stand on the goal line. If they have to come forward to get the ball, you take it and you go. If you have to stand where you're at, you're on the goal line. Take a knee. I mean, it's literally, do I have to step forward or do I have to step back? And to claim it's anything more is hiding, and that's what he did. He was called out by a teammate. He kind of slapped back, and he's like, "Oh, well, that should have been handled in-house. That's not how my family works." Blah 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 blah. Like, you're an idiot. Like, it's not great to have this dirty laundry, but I'm sorry, you're a steaming pile of. Okay, I'll shut up.
So the thing that gets me that the announcers said earlier in this game, and that's probably why I should know it was cursed to happen, that we were going to fumble on this play. The announcer was saying, "Wow, whoever is coaching the special teams for the Packers has been doing a great job. This team is covering very well." And this, of course, they said after the fact that the Packers missed a fake punt. Do you guys remember that in like first half, right before the Rams scored the second one? They basically like missed coverage on a fake punt. They fumble the goal line. I don't see like the coverage otherwise was pretty good, but
the fun fact on that was I think that was the first time that the Rams offense had been stopped and they had to punt the ball like 4 times in a row. As they were saying that, they ran the fake punt. They got the first down. Ironically, then we still stopped them, which all credit to the defense. They played very well. That was not expected. But we ended up still getting that additional stop to get the punt. So the stat was still true. They just delayed it with the fake. And yeah, we weren't expecting that. We looked flat-footed. We looked silly. The defender who should have been on him was like, "What? What happened?"
So we played, actually, I thought we played pretty well defense, but we still gave up 29 points.
If I may, was that well defense that we played? Like,
we did not.
Like, where we get the water
defense
from the well?
We played the defense well. We played good word defense. We played
Doesn't matter.
Positive word defense. It didn't matter because we still gave it 29 points. Think about that. That's like NBA level. That's like they scored 115 on us in NBA. We played pretty good defense. We held them 115. Like, I don't know if that's good defense to me. If you give up 29 points, you're still pretty bad defense. They just get gassed. I don't know if it's conditioning or they just don't have.
Anyone else think that Clay might be balding? Anyone else see his head? I thought Clay's hair looked a little thin when he took his helmet off.
Beep beep. Whoosh. Tangent.
Just saying, like, Clay's known for his hair, and because of the rule about not being able to take your helmet off on the field, which is pretty much because of him, he's known for his luscious locks, if you will. When he took his helmet off on the sideline, between having the beard and maybe his hair being a little thin on top, he's looking like an old man.
He's getting older. He's playing actually very well this year.
He's not
in his
except for the 2 or 3 times he's ruined a game for the Packers.
He's technically cost us games, and honestly, he doesn't show up consistently enough. If you want to talk about a player who's having a good year, you talk about Blake Martinez, and that's it.
He's having a great year.
Here's my policy for defense of the Packers. If Blake Martinez doesn't make the tackle, the play is going for 20-plus yards and or a touchdown. Outside of that, Blake Martinez makes the tackle. Like, the guy is an animal, easy Pro Bowl selection, fun to watch. I want his jersey. I think he's a pretty classy guy, and if I have a jersey that says Martinez, it also says I'm racially diverse, I guess. Maybe I'll go down on a wing. But no, I like the guy. He's absolutely fantastic to watch, and anyone who watches the Packers defense, which is painful and short because everyone just scores on us, will note that if a tackle's made, 9 times out of 10, it's by Martinez.
See, my thought is this. Clay Matthews, after he was not allowed to use PEDs anymore, has gotten so bad that this season is like a resurgence for him. Anything he's doing right now is more positive than what he has been doing the last few years. So good for him, kind of. The penalties were pretty bad. Ty Montgomery-esque, actually. But what can you say? They lost again.
I think you got to check your stat book on Clay. I think you're firing. You're firing from the hip here, and you're missing a little wide.
So bad. I'm gonna look up his. I think his stats.
Couple other quick NFL things to hit on before we get into our closing segments. Number 1, Browns coach gone. He's out. Gone.
We're gonna
got his name already. That's how bad he was. Gone.
Cavaliers coach.
Games.
Nope. The
Browns coach
Browners.
and Cavaliers coach are
both of them are gone.
Oh, they're both gone.
They're both.
Tyronn Lue, the coach for when LeBron was there, which means there was a good joke again on Sports Radio this morning. Tyronn Lue proceeded to coach 6 games in his career with the Cavaliers because before LeBron was there, and if we're all being honest, LeBron was the coach. So they were joking. Tyronn Lue was fired. He only coached 6 games for the Cavaliers, meaning just these 6, and then he's gone. I'll shut up.
Clay's been really bad.
Also, congrats, Adam Vinatieri, getting the total highest amount of points scored ever by a football player.
Now, actually, on that one, I'm just kidding.
What do you got? What do you got, Nick?
Clay Matthews, or the Bucks are leading the division. The only undefeated team in the NBA. Klay Thompson just hit 14 3-pointers in 3 quarters, which is insane. Somebody's got to turn off his stats. And Clay Matthews really is on pace to have more tackles this year than he has in the last 2 seasons combined. So, fact.
All right. So with Halloween, what would be everybody's favorite Halloween candy?
Clay Matthews is not paid to tackle anybody. He's paid to sack people. At any rate, my favorite candy in Halloween.
I have an example. I'll be right back. Keep going.
We got to be careful with these Packers podcasts because they get taken over. I really enjoy it, but at the same time, I'm not educated to be that good of a sports announcer. At any rate, closing segment, favorite Halloween candy. My favorite Halloween candy is Reese's. Now, not Reese's Pieces, Reese's Cups. Generally,
what other kind of Reese's is there besides Reese's peanut butter cups?
Yeah, well, people like Reese's Pieces, evidently. I'm not a huge fan. It's like M&M's except Reese's. Reese's Cups are the way to go, and not those mini ones. The mini ones are not sufficient. I'm sorry. Those are okay, but the full-size Reese's Cups are the way to go. And if I have a second place, I've always been a big fan of Three Musketeers. Maybe not as much anymore, but they hold a special place in my heart.
I like sweet tart ropes. Kind of that's backwards. Oh well.
So
these
licorice?
things I discovered a few years ago. It's not licorice. It's kind of like licorice, but there's a filling in the middle that I don't know what it's made out of.
Sweet tart?
And it's delicious.
Must made out of
it's so good.
Dreams of children everywhere that you're eating their candy.
Yes, I am.
My favorite Halloween candy is most definitely Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I would have to agree with you, Nick, that the bigger cups are the better cups. I'm not the hugest fan of the big cups. You know what I'm saying?
No,
those are
throws
okay.
off the ratio.
If you throw those in the freezer,
the ratio gets off.
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Tell us more about the ratio.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Ratio. I'm just having fun. I'll shut up. I promise.
Dominating personality, that one. The big cups, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of those. They're too big to adequately put the entire thing in my mouth at once if need be. And yeah, like Nick was alluding to, the ratio isn't quite right. There seems to be a little bit too much. I don't know if I think it's too much chocolate to peanut butter ratio on those. It's just not quite right. The standard peanut butter cups, definitely where it's at. I will also say that the mini cups, like the bites or whatever, that you don't have to unwrap. Those are amazing, not necessarily because of the ratio. I think it's still, the ratio's a little off on those, but you don't have to unwrap them. And that's some pretty high quality stuff right there. I would say second favorite candy. I do also like Three Musketeers like Nick. However, I would say my second favorite candy would be the mini M&Ms. I don't know why. Those I think are they're just adorable, right? And I like those a lot.
Not candy. Baby Ruth.
Twix, actually.
Ooh,
I forgot that every high school basketball game, typically I would have a Twix before the game.
Left Twix or right Twix?
Yes, Twix, as opposed to no Twix.
There needs to be some Twix.
What's up with this yes no Twixt? Like I understand the whole. Was it the left right Twixt?
Yeah, it's left or right.
Oh, okay.
I just made up the yes no because it seemed poetic, like yes Twix as opposed to no Twix.
You should
Like,
get a
I want
marketing for
Twix.
them.
I'm
That's a
not
lot
a
better
marketer.
than the
I
left
hate-
right debate.
I
I
had something
hate
for that
marketing.
for the Six Flags Great America, where for the American Eagle or whatever, you had to pick left Twixt or right Twixt side instead of the red side or blue
It's not
side.
Twix. That's
That's
get the,
kind of
sponsored
cool.
by Twix. American
I'm
Eagle.
okay with that, ironically. Have you ever done a Halloween event? Does Six Flags do a Halloween event?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been doing it a
that's
couple times.
popular.
Is it cool?
Super crowded.
Fest.
Do not expect to go on any rides. We waited literally 4.5 hours to go on Batman.
Okay.
Batman's a fun ride and all, but not 4.5 hours of
Not
waiting
4.5
time.
hours. Valley Fair in Minnesota does Valley Scare, and I've never checked it out. Remind me for next podcast. I went to a haunted house with some friends and with Megan, and that was quite an experience. But we will have to discuss that next time. We've covered our closing segment, and that was episode 24 of If I May. I hope you all enjoyed. We'll bring you a new episode every Thursday. Please support us, subscribe, share, rate, and review. I believe we're on Anchor if you'd ever like to donate towards us. If you want to get in contact with us or have any questions, DM us on Twitter @zarubust. Hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful Thursday. Good night.